So this is our spiritual path, a path of remembrance. What's the sign? What's the sign say?
Who dat?
Who dat?
I am who I am.
Who dat?
Who I am, I am.
I am who I am.
Who dat?
And then, yeah, and then Ashley said, who dat? I am who I am.
Who dat?
That's right. We need to remember.
Who this be?
Because what did we think?
Erde.
What did we think then? We thought we were something other than what we are. More importantly, we thought our brother and sister were other than who they are. So here Rumi says, he says, this is love. To fly toward a secret sky, to cause 100 veils to fall each moment. First, to let go in life, and finally, to take a step without fear. What? So the Course in Miracles says that what we're about here, it says that we can't teach what love is because that is beyond teaching. But what we can do in this course, in this path that we're on, is to remove the barriers to the awareness of love. So here's what Rumi said about it in like 1347, I believe, somewhere right around that year. He says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So we put up these barriers to keep us from knowing who that, to stop us from realizing who it is that we really are. This is not some hopeful kind of talk. I want to just tell you the truth. I want to tell you the truth that you, me, we, us, they, them, whoever we might call they and them, we are all the love of God manifest. That's who. That's who. So Moses, coming upon the burning bush, is given some instructions. He doesn't necessarily like the instructions, because he doesn't want the task. He doesn't want the responsibility. And he doesn't believe that he is up to delivering these messages. And so he says to the presence that's symbolized in the burning bush, he says, who shall I say sent me? And the voice comes back and says, say, I am who I am. And I will be what I will send you. Sounds cool, but it sounds kind of weird, right? What? What? The great I am sent you. So then, if the presence in this burning bush is the I am, what? You just got, what? So you're thinking in your own mind about, well, how does this affect my identity? What is it? So what is this I am? God is saying, I am what I am. I will be what I will be. What is that saying about me? Well, the answer that we don't want to consider most of the time, the answer that the ego definitely doesn't want to consider, is that we are part of that great I am. That is our true identity. And so these barriers that we've put up, what we try to do is that every one of these barriers, you call them some, this is, so Moses, remember when Moses goes up, again, after he goes down and tells the people this, that the bush told him, right, they didn't really listen too cool. So then he had to go back, and in that time when he went back, he got the tablets, right? He gets the tablets with the commandments. on them. And while he's gone, I'll remember this is a story. This is a story that's written to educate us as to what our tendencies are as people. So while he's gone, while the leader is gone, the people get scared, and so they start making idols. It's a symbolic story. And what it's the barriers that we have built against love are these very idols. So the people are making idols out of gold and stuff. They got these statues. If you saw the movies, really, I'm just gonna say, when I was a kid and I saw the movie, I thought, man, I was like impressed with it, but don't watch it now and it's pretty weak. So, but, the idea is that the people were afraid. The idea of the story is the people were afraid, and so they wanted something to allay their fears. They wanted something to fill this dark void within them. And so they looked to these idols. And so this is, we still do it today. Every single thing that we put in front of our relationship, well, you can say God, it's okay. We're in church, you can say God. Everything that we put in front of our relationship with God is an idol. Everything that we do that distracts us from going back. Now remember what I was saying from the beginning is we are part of God. So what we're actually doing is putting things in front of who we really are. We're in there, hence the barrier. We are blocking ourselves from that realization and that remembrance of who we are and where we have come from. And so here's what Rumi says about that is he says 1,000 half loves must be forsaken to take one whole heart home. So we have to forsake, we have to let go of the idols. We have to let go of the idols to go home. All these things that we think are so important. Many of them, though, when we really start considering, we don't really even think they're that important, but we still put them first. There's all sorts of things, all sorts of activities, all sorts of things that we do that we think we're supposed to do, that we have to do, that are really just distractions from us returning home. There's a couple of lessons in the Course in Miracles where the opportunity is actually presented to make the transition to heaven. And it's very clear that it's right there, that the decision could be made right then. And I don't know what, I've made various theories about what happens if you actually take the invitation. You turn sideways and disappear. I don't know. Something happens though. But every single time that I've been in the middle of that meditation, I'm right on the point. One of these barriers pops up. There's a thought like, well, I have some unfinished business. I have some other things, that need to be taken care of. So here's what the ego is continually giving us a promise that some desire or another is going to be fulfilled in the next moment if we do as it directs. Most of the time it doesn't keep its promises, but it always has another promise to offer. And these are the barriers, these are the distractions, these are the idols. There's one more thing I can do. I've got this one, there's something, so it's the repetition of that story of Sisyphus. That every day we're pushing a boulder to the top of the mountain, doing our work all day long, pushing that boulder up to the top of the mountain, and then at night, the boulder rolls back down to the bottom. In the morning we get up and we forget that we pushed the boulder to the top of the mountain yesterday, and we do it all over again. Thinking that at the top of the mountain, during this work, at the top of the mountain, we get some reward, something good, something is, our task fulfilled, we're going to get some kind of reward. But all we get is a repetition of pushing the boulder. So this keeps us from putting our attention, on really the desires of our heart. We go with the desires of the ego instead of the desires of our heart. So we think we're people. I got an image as I was writing this one the meditation for Tuesday, for this coming Tuesday. I was sitting quietly and I've had this vision before of a mirror falling to the floor and shattering. And then how odd, when you look at it, how odd the image is that is reflected in that broken mirror. And so this idea of us being fragments, that we've actually broken ourselves off from God, that we are fragments, that we are like that broken mirror, shattered on the floor, showing splintered images, projecting incomplete perspectives. So this broken mirror, I like the idea of it because it's a good symbol, it's a good image of our unreconstructed mind, so to speak. That we're on this journey of restoration, and we think about that and I wrote a little poem once about the fact that I keep cutting myself on the broken shards of my personality. And this is, big injuries and little, day in and day out. Broken ourselves into jagged pieces. Our journey is one of restoration. We meet many people, all of whom, we think about this, every single person we meet is a part of that fragmented self. And our job then, as we meet them, is to try to draw us all back together. To not look for the differences that divide us. Let's just start with that. We go, many times we're told in NA, we're told to look for the similarities, not the differences. So in other words, we're told not to alienate ourselves from those around us, and mainly in that context, it's because those around us are the ones that are going to help us. So it'd probably be a good idea not to alienate ourselves from them. But the ego continues to look for reasons to alienate. And you know what? There's people sitting in church all over this country and all over the world today that their main tenet in their church is to look for the differences, not the similarities. And they're saying from the front, don't buy into that's kind of like this, because if you do that, you'll be lost. The only way that you can find safety is to do it exactly this way. If you look for the similarities, you're going to get in trouble. Well, it's just another way that fear is being presented. If you look for the similarities, if you look for how you're like other people and other cultures, you may set yourself up to be taken advantage. Not just talking about whether you get into heaven or not, but talking about just your daily life. If you start getting too close to some of these strange people, they're probably going to take advantage of you. It's all about separation. It's all about alienation. So, unreconstructed, we suffer daily. We're going about doing our own thing. We've forgotten, who we really are, and we're laboring under this misconception that we are a body that needs to take care of itself because nobody else is going to do it. And it's not, we do have work to do with our body. There are things that are ours to do. There's activities that we need to we need to do, I'm not suggesting in any way that we should neglect the body. It's just that that can't be our primary focus. Our primary focus needs to be this idea of removing the barriers to love. So, there's this great Rumi poem, and one of the lines is many times it's kind of misinterpreted and taken out of context, and he says, there is, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. And many people use that line to kind of justify some activities that may not be, healthy to family and community, but what it's really saying is there is a place outside of judgment. There is a place outside of you making a judgment of your brother and sister that they act different than you, so they're wrong and you're right. There's a place beyond that idea that your way is the right way and their way is the wrong way. And Rumi is saying, that's where I want to meet you. Come on out there. Let's go out there together. So this is our endeavor. This is our endeavors. This is what we're doing to uncover, to remove the veils from our face, from our true face, to get back to who we really are. See, once we understand that others are really a part of us, then we can see that they can also be a help to us. And of course, that we are a help to them. And what's going on when we cooperate in this way is we assist each other in a restoration to sanity. There's that second step, popping up again. This restoration to sanity, which turns out to be a return to our original state. Who dat?
Who dat?
Our original state. Reconstructed, larger self. No longer trapped in the small self. And this is what we are doing. Kind action by kind action. Loving thought by loving thought. We are rebuilding ourselves. We are bringing ourselves back together. We're cooperating with each other. This is the only way we can do it. This is the only way we can do it. This is the bad joke that I tell all the time about salvation to my friend Wendell. Wendell we play racquetball with. He said, that Monday, he said it again just like he does every Monday. He says, did you get anybody saved on Sunday? And I say, yeah, all of them. He doesn't, now he likes, now he laughs about it, but he doesn't agree. He doesn't agree. Because he thinks you have to do certain things. He thinks you have to take certain vows. He thinks you have to believe a certain way and do a certain way to belong. And what's really going on is we already all belong. And so it goes right along. It's like, what did I say? It's like good health care. Everybody in, nobody out. So we turn to our original state. This forgiveness is what it is. It's forgiveness. This pure, radical forgiveness that does not see any of the bad things that I think you did or even that you think you did. I don't see it anymore. And remember, I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying that it's okay for you to act badly. I may even mention it if you're acting badly. But forgiveness is I'm seeing through it. I'm seeing past it to your true identity, to who you are. I'm seeing through, like we said, I am on Overwatch. Last week, I am looking over. I am seeing from a higher perspective. I put my vision above the battlefield to see the truth of spirit in all of us. And I can still tell you when you've done something hurtful to yourself and others, without pigeonholing you into that place, that's the kind of person that you are, that's just who you are, you're always doing that. That's what I say to myself. And so I can't stand it for very long when I'm telling myself, see, that's what you always do. By now, you should know better. You've been doing, how long you been doing this? You should not be doing that anymore. So, but that's uncomfortable, it's too uncomfortable. So instead then, I flip it around to you. And I say, you're always doing that. I would never do something like that. And this dialogue, this is crazy, insane. Not even a dialogue. Back and forth inside my head. 1 minute blaming you and the next minute blaming myself. All a blockade, a barrier to who I really am. A wall that I put up between me and you so I can't see who you really are. We assist each other in a return to sanity. Forgiveness shows us the truth of oneness and forgets the fears of isolation. So alone, here's what's going on. Alone, each of us just stands like a shadow on a wall. A shadow of the true glory and grandeur of our creation. But together, we recombine. We come together in the unity of all life. So, though we may think that we are persons, separate and distinct, we're actually the help. We're actually the help that restores, that reassembles the mirror. So I am who I am sent me. Tell them, just tell them, I am who I am sent me. They'll know then. I think they were just as confused as Moses was when he said that. The great I am sent, yeah, I don't know what that means, but here I am. It is said that together, and when I say it is said here, I mean it's said other places, but it is said that together we are the Christ. Together we are the Christ. It exists in us, between us, and all around us. But it is who we really are. It is not our personality. That's not what I'm saying. Our personality is not the Christ. It is that which is over and above that. And Jesus, Jesus was Jesus' last name wasn't Christ. They didn't say, here comes little Jesus from the Christ family down the street. Jesus he came into the awareness of his Christ consciousness by waking up, by realizing. But the problem is, so we can, and intellectually this is, it's a very attractive idea. The ego wants to fight it all the way, says, oh, no, that can't possibly be. But we can accept it kind of on an intellectual level, and we're working on our meditation to get better and better at it, and the better we get at it, the easier it is for us to forgive. But so if together then we are the Christ, who is it that we are when we're alone? No one. One is the key. See, one is the key. When two become one, when the two become one, that's when we see. When the two become one, when everything becomes one, that's when we see. When we think one means alone, see, I say we are all one rather than alone. Alone we are no one, not one, but legion. What, if you read Revelation, there's some kind of scary stuff that has to do with legion. When we think we are alone, what we really are is we are legion. We are a platoon at war with itself. But Jesus, he's the first one we knew did it. Maybe Buddha did it. I think he was close, but He saw through the illusion of an army to the truth of identity. What he actually saw was he saw the face of Christ in each and every member of the multitude. This was the key. This was the key to the whole thing. The throng in front of him. To that throng in front of him, he appeared to be a body, just like every other body, except that it looked like he was waking up. It sounded like he was waking. He was saying things that were revolutionary in the time, but still, we see him as the exception. We see him as a body who did something extraordinary. But the fact of the matter is, he was saying, "Our Father." He was saying, "I am your brother. I am your elder brother, come to show you this way back." So we can see him, and this is fine. I tell people that this is fine to think about Jesus as still, to think about him as this symbol of the one who raises us up, who raises our consciousness to that same level. He is the elder brother who points the way. And the thing about it is, all this is now, again, I'm just going to say this because I'm telling you what I believe. You don't have to believe none of it. I'm just presenting some ideas here. You take it for what it's worth, right? Work with it yourself. Do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is that Jesus is still present. Not out there somewhere, not watching from some other vantage point. But in here, Jesus is present within us, and he sees all circumstances that are going on, and is not in denial. It's not like, you can use denial to a good effect a lot of times, but to deny present circumstance is a bad use of denial. So Jesus sees the present circumstance without believing in its veracity, without believing in its truthfulness. Yes, it's an experience that we are having right now, but it is not the reality of spirit. It is just a passing state of mind. It is just something that we are going through in the present moment. So he comes as Jesus, the man, the body. But then he presents as Christ, as the highest consciousness. He presents as Christ. He remains available to us as a help, as a guide, as an example. What does he say? He said, "Whenever two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them." And we need to know the idioms, because what that meant at the time, when someone said gathered in my name, or you were gathered in the name of something, what was really going on was you were gathered after their nature in there, because the name means the nature. Name is so important. So who dat?
Who dat?
What's your name?
Who dat?
What is your name? Your name is the name that your body was given? You say, no. Who I am, my nature is the Christ. And your nature, as child of God, is the Christ. The only difference between us is that he realized it and did something with it. But it's on us. It's on us to actually take some steps to move in that direction. So he comes as a man, a body, and then presents as the Christ. He remains a help. But he's here right now. That presence, that Christ presence in you, that Christ presence in me, is here right now to show us the way back. A body no longer. Jesus remains in spirit, eternal, a part of us, always accessible, to comfort and lead us on this path back. So Rumi says about it, he says, I'm yours. I'm yours. Don't give myself back to me. When I'm with you, this is beautiful. When I'm with you, we stay up all night. When you're not here, I can't go to sleep. Praise God for those two insomniacs and the difference between them. So we're looking, we want to hear it. Man, I just think about this. I did my meditation this morning. Sometimes, as long as I practice, and sometimes you have these, I have these just remarkable experiences. And that's great. It is terrific to actually go to that place where there's this sense of the peace that passes all understanding. Where I absolutely know that everything is okay, regardless of circumstances and appearance. That everything is okay, and that we're all right. That sense of belonging, that sense of connection, and the desire for only good to come to all of creation. And that's a state of mind that I've entered into many times, but it doesn't always come. It doesn't always come, and when it doesn't, I want it. I want it. That's what I want. I'm seeking. But the seeking itself stops it from coming. Rumi knows. He says, I want to see you. He's saying to God, he's saying, I want to see you. I want to know your voice. I recognize you when you first come round the corner. Sense your scent when I come into a room. You just, ooh, sounds like he's talking to his lover. He is. He's talking to God. Know the lift of your heel, the glide of your foot. To become familiar with the way you purse your lips, and then let them part just the slightest bit. When I lean into your space and kiss you, I want to know the joy of how you whisper. Ooh, got hot in here for a second.